Good evening and welcome to the Icecast, and welcome to the Icecast, my co-host Ollie McMonee.
All right, how are we? Good, thank you. How are you, Shane?
Very good, thank you. And our special guest this evening is Aaron from Buy Small Press Comics. Good evening, Aaron.
Yay. All right, guys, thanks for having me.
How are we?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, nice to actually talk to humans and see people. I'm too busy in the comment sections of things at the moment.
Humans? Where are these humans?
Email world. Yeah.
It's a bit of a different show this week, guys, because usually we talk to writers and artists about their new books coming out. But I saw online about this service. Actually, I think it was a promo post on Facebook or something like that, called Buy Small Press Comics. And as somebody who buys small press comics and who publishes small press comics in sometimes, I was a little bit, to say the least, interested in what you were doing. So I thought it'd be a really good time to get you onto the show and to let folks know all about what you do. And also, it was just so that really that we could find out what you do as well, because it's really interesting. So for those who don't know what Buy Small Press Comics is, could you give us a little bit of information about what the service is?
Yeah, absolutely. So buysmallpresscomics.com. So buysmallpress.com is basically it's a marketplace. So if you think Etsy, that's probably the best way to look at it. You can go onto the platform, sign up, get a free store. It don't cost you any monthly fees or any setup costs or anything like that. It's totally free. And you can put all your comics up, your digital comics, any like prints, drawings, whatever related to your work. And all we do is take a 5% fee off when you actually make a sale. So it basically costs you nothing to get onto the platform, and it gives you a store to you get your own store link, so you can share that store around, and you can post little blogs on it if you want to. So that's basically it. We wanted to basically take what Etsy has for the handcrafted market and try and make it for small press in general.
Well, that's a really good idea. I mean, because especially at the moment, the way that sort of distribution for comics is going, it's more and more sort of, yes, there's Marvel, there's DC, and the Diamond seem to be picking up everything else. But it's still very exclusive, isn't it? It's still very, it's still very difficult to get onto the Diamond catalog. I would imagine it's probably also difficult to get with these new distributors that have, come in with Marvel and DC. So that avenue is essential. I think.
Before I started it up, obviously I was publishing children's books for Fair Spot Books, and that's mainly where all my problems were coming from, because most of these distributors are taking 60%, sometimes 70% of a sale before it even goes to the shop. It's just no one's making money on comics in that fashion. And with stores being closed in the past year, there was this big need to have places where people can sell their stuff. And if you're a small if you're small press, or just someone who's just doing it as a hobby, you don't want to have upfront costs and ongoing costs. Yeah. So one thing I'm focusing on at the moment is I have a 5-step plan. I'm not telling you all 5 because it's top secret, but my 5-step plan is basically a suite of tools that creators can use to allow them to focus on creating rather than dealing with the other stuff. Yeah, so the first one is obviously Buy Small Press, the website where you can go and set up your store. Just upload everything, leave it alone until you make a sale, right? Just link people there. And the second one is the monthly subscription box, which we can talk about later. But that's stage 2. But essentially what I want to do is build a suite of products that don't make tons of money for me, like 5%, 2%. These are just basically costs to cover servers and things like this. Yeah. But you as a creator are going to get as much return on your investment as you can, essentially. With as least effort is what I'm trying to build.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, creators these days, I mean, for a long time now, to be a comics creator, it's never been about just creating comics, is it? It's always been about promoting yourself, creating a brand, creating a shop. All the things that you're doing there is something that creators have had to do for themselves. I mean, and I know how hard it is because when I did Small Zone, you know, to create the shop for everybody, there's a lot of maintenance there, you know, and all the shipping as well. I mean, when your service, is it a sort of you know, does this publisher fulfill the service, or are you drop shipping the service?
Yeah, so currently at the moment it's fully based. You are the store owner. You basically fulfill it yourself. We are coming out. We're just working out the logistics of everything, and I'm trialing it with some Kickstarters. People are doing it at the moment, but we're going to offer fulfillment services as well. There's a secret part 3. There you go, of the 5-step plan. Step 3 is fulfillment. Which is obviously another thing you don't want to have to worry about. So hopefully eventually we can get to the point where you can just ship me a load of books like you do on Amazon. We store it, and then if you sell it, we'll ship it. And then even then there's just less stuff and less admin that you have to do on a daily basis. You don't have to go down the post office, you know, like people don't have to deal with those pesky bloody European custom forms. We'll do that.
Oh well, that is attractive because that is a pain in the butt, as we all know.
Yeah.
So if I keep going like this, I might prize all 5 of these steps out.
Yeah, I was thinking we got 3 out of him. No. We've already been doing it for 8 minutes.
No, for 5 I'm keeping, because if they do go out, I'm sure someone will do it first, and I don't want someone to do it.
Yes. Yeah, that's very good thinking. We have got a little comment from one of our regulars, Kevin Judge Drone, who is determined to comment on every show. Hey, Kevin, how you doing? But he says, very interesting. Hello from V2A, who are, of course, publishers as well, and a band.
Oh,
yeah, I've done your plug-in for you there, Kevin. So that's really interesting. And so if a publisher is listening to this and they're watching this now and they're saying, oh, this sounds really good, I would like to get involved, how do they go about it?
They literally just go to buysmallpress.com, and in the menu there's just a button called Start a Store Today. You basically click that button, fill in a form, and within a couple of seconds you'll have your store ready. I just have to approve it, just because I want to make sure it's not getting spammed full of loads of random stuff. But yeah, and you basically upload your first product and you're ready to go. It's cool. The only thing that takes a little bit of time is just setting up your shipping, because it can be very picky depending on how you want to set it up. You know, some people want to go by weight, some people just distant, you know, it's all slightly different.
I think
or you can just do a flat rate.
Have you got the website on screen there, Ollie?
It should be sharing, yeah. So,
like,
I mean,
if I put it on. So.
It's, as you were talking, what immediately sort of stood out is how, in a good way, how simplistic the site is. It's not brash, it's not bold, it's certainly eye-catching with that pop of colour from the different covers you've got there. And I think certainly, you know, I would imagine a lot of indie press who might be watching this tonight or on catch-up, they might actually buy into this just from the look itself. Did you design that yourself, I take it, Aaron? Or
Well, the one you're showing is the monthly club one,
right?
But no, I didn't design the logos myself.
An honest man
Yeah.
who's not taking the credit for someone else's
No,
work.
I actually got a good friend, Andy Blur, to do it.
We know Andy. Yeah,
he's a great guy. He does all of my logos. So if you go to buysmallpress.com,
There we go.
I love the way the searches go to small presses.
That's quite bizarre. I was wondering what that was. Here we go.
I'll have to do something with that. I'll have to start selling small presses as well.
Yeah, you will. There's a market. Comics people, they want to press their comics. So
well, if you redesign the logo. But again, it's still that simplicity, isn't it? It's still that great lineup of sort of a grid there. And I take it we can click onto these. I take it we can see this. Yeah. There we go. I mean, it's very, very. Oh, Madius Comics. I know those guys. It looks like you've got quite a lot of indie British publishers and creators already signed
fantastic.
up.
Yeah.
How did you initially get the
110 at the moment?
Wow.
Still growing every day, really.
Get ready for it, mate, because when I had Small Zone, I had nearly 1,000 publishers.
That would be lovely.
So get ready, because you will find them and they'll come from all over the place. One question I do have is, do you curate? Do you have a quality control?
Sort of. I kind of look at everything that comes because of the fact that it's, there's not tons going on at the moment, like every day. So I can actually, do it. Because what I try and do is every time a new book gets added, I make a social post and I send it out.
Yeah.
So for me, I get to see them all through that. But at the moment, I'm not really restricting anything. There's nothing that I push away at all at the moment because I don't see why. Because if someone wants to do a one-page scene, that's fine by me. If they want to put it up a digital product and sell it, go for it.
Yeah, I think early on, it's good to be like that. But once it develops into something really big, just talking from experience, you can ignore this altogether if you want. I found that you do have to start sort of having quality control. And this is nothing subjective. It's not saying, I don't like that art, so I'm not having it in. It's more, is there a professional standard of graphics and lettering in the book? Is it professionally put together? It's not been lettered by somebody who doesn't know how to letter, or it's badly printed and you can't read it. Those sort of basic quality controls, 'cause I think that later on down the line, that's probably something to look at. I mean, what do you feel about that?
I feel like personally, I probably won't go as far as doing that because of the fact that, one, we don't actually take the books in and buy them and sell them ourselves. So for us, we don't get to really see a lot of these books because even if you upload your book digitally, I still don't get to see it because it just sits on the server and it's part of our terms and conditions. We don't go in and look at them. Feel free to send them to us for reviews because we do reviews on the website. But I feel like everyone should have a chance to sell their work regardless of their level at that time. So go in and put in a store on. But as we go on, we're obviously going to start doing more created, like weekly lists of things. Like we might do an action hero week or something, things like this. Once we start getting more stuff on the platform, and then we'll start doing more curated stuff. But in terms of restricting things coming on the site, no, we don't even restrict adult related content at the moment. We have Jen, who does some amazing stuff on here. I just can't remember her full name. Let me search it, because if I give her the wrong name. So,
and when you say adult, so you basically what you're doing, are you warning people that it's going to be adult before they go onto it?
Jenny Gilblad.
I know Jenny.
So at the moment, there's something I'm actually working on. When you sign up to the site, you can say that you are 18 plus. And I'm just coding this bit at the moment. It doesn't exist, so that when you do go to an 18 plus site, there is a chance that you'll just say confirm. But the one thing we try to say is, like, don't put full on pornographic images on the on. Do you know what I mean? I might take those away.
Not that
if
sort
you
of
just
site.
have the cover, a bit disgentled out, that's fine. Because
I think I mean, as far as I'm anti-censorship completely. When it comes to adults being able to read whatever they want to read, it's good for people to be informed, isn't it? Because you don't want kids going on there reading something they shouldn't read. I mean, it goes without saying, really. But sometimes the mechanisms for these things, they can get missed, can't they?
Yeah.
Although I have to admit, and I've shared this story with Charlie Adlard, because my daughter was too young to watch The Walking Dead, I thought it'd be a good idea to let her read the comics, forgetting how that can be far more violent than the TV show. But she hasn't turned into a serial killer yet.
No.
But I know what you're saying. Not the well, that's it. She's hitting the bodies really well. But what I'm seeing, I mean, I like Flintlock. I know sort of. We've had the Time Bomb guys, Steve Tanner, on here, haven't we? You're Captain Cosmic. I mean, that as just a snapshot of your website, I think really does justice to what you're trying to do, and also the variety that's on there, including Leeds United. Less said about them, the better, I suspect. But I think, but these are a very good sort of sign, I suppose, of early sort of grassroots shooting through. If you're having what I consider relatively big names in the indie press scene signing up and supporting you in this way, they obviously something of worth in it. And and all power to you. It's a great lineup of comics already. Just from the 110, did you say it was that you've got signed?
I think last time I checked, we had 110.
It's a good start, isn't it?
On the site, I think there was over 300 books.
Wow,
and that's still growing.
That's fantastic. And you've managed to work a model where we really take, what was it, 10% of the cover price?
Yeah, we only take 5%, obviously, after transaction fees. Right. And we can't do anything about transaction fees, unfortunately. It's just the way it works.
No.
But, as time goes on, if this ever gets bigger, that gives you better clout to go to these companies with and say, can we have better market rates, please? And then,
of course.
But we'd never, like, if we dropped, say we managed to get that down to like 1% of a transaction fee, we wouldn't then go, our fee is now 6% to like make it seem, we just absorb it, because we only want the 5%. That's enough, and that's only purely just to keep the site running. And to because every time, basically you're getting a whole store for free. And if you're using stuff like Etsy, you have to pay. You can get free, but then you're limited. You have to then pay monthly fees for adding more products. They have fees on tops of fees on tops of fees that they hide from you as well. And we just don't have any of that.
No, it's a fantastic service, mate. I think a lot of small press people watching this are going to be very excited about that. It's just a really good way of getting out there directly to the reader. Have you got any ideas or any aspirations to work with retailers through your website at all, as a wholesaler or anything like that?
It's part of our fulfillment stuff that we were looking into, is somewhere along the line that once we have this base of creators that are using our platform, we then were thinking of creating our own kind of previews magazine of saying, here is all the creators that have got books coming out in the future. They want to be, send it your request to us, and we'll package them all together and get them together and send them to you. That's probably like a year away, because we're thinking more about, let's build up that user base first.
Yes.
And make sure we've got, because ideally I want all the creators, I want everyone. I want to be able to send out that. I want to be able to send out that previews magazine that is as thick as previews, that is just small press. All right, that's what I want.
All right, I get that.
I want the shops to make it. I want the shops to take that seriously.
Yeah.
So.
And they will. I think sometimes you just have to prove yourself. I from my experience in doing the same thing, it took us probably 5 years before retailers really started taking us seriously. But obviously that was a different time. I think now more retailers are open to independent comics and small press comics. I think more retailers see the value in it and realize that they're actually going to expand their customer base because if you have different genres and you're not just selling superheroes and popular brands, you've got more chance of different people coming into your shop. So I think more retailers are coming around to that now. So I'm very optimistic about what you're doing here. I think it's got huge potential in that arena. So I know I'm asking lots of questions, but I'm really interested. So the other thing I wanted to ask you about was this subscription service, which is what I saw online, which I found very attractive. Could you tell our viewers and listeners about the subscription service?
So the way this works is for a monthly fee of $16.99, we'll send you out a minimum of 5 comics from the small press world. And at the moment they're coming from our website as well. So it's mainly, basically like on the front page, if you go to past boxes, we just had one that just ended in April. So they were the 5 comics that you got in the last one. Right. So a variety of the spectrum. And obviously we try and throw in some other stuff as well if creators pass it along, like a print or stickers or stuff as well. But the main focus is to get 5 comics into your hand every month from small press creators, just for one fee of $16.99.
Yeah, I think that's really good value. What do you say, Ollie?
I'm really intrigued in the fact that it's a real good way of dipping into new material, dipping into new creators that maybe you've not come across before. And for 5 comics for that price, I mean, it is good value for money, considering you could go into a comic shop, and with DC prices these days, you can come out $16.99 with about 3 comics. And in a world where I think we will begin to look more and more for value for money, I like the fact that you've kept your costs down. I like the fact that it's clearly a labour of love. It sounds to me, from what you're saying, you're actually doing all of the coding to this site yourself and having someone do all the graphic design. It's very much a passion project. And I would imagine going forward, there'll be as many people betting on you as they are on the service. But Mahoney's there by Rich Carrington, a fellow Welsh boy. It's a good selection. It really is. Now, do you just randomly choose these titles, or do you try and go maybe in future months for a theme? Not necessarily the same genre, but there may be a theme like a whodunit, for example, a sci-fi whodunit, a horror whodunit. What's the thinking behind that?
So the thinking is currently that we're going to do, they're just random for the time being, but we will maybe every quarter do like a created one, which might be a bit bigger, and maybe a few more comics, maybe a little bit more money, but it'll be more themed. So obviously, maybe like Halloween, you could do a really good Halloween one with all the scary comics. But I want them to feel even more. Don't know the right word, but
special. Something.
Yeah, even more special than the monthly one.
It's always a good word.
Yeah. Well, it makes the monthly one seem less special, which they're not. But you know what I mean.
Event boxes.
Event boxes. Yeah. I'm stealing that, Ollie. Hold on.
I'm quite happy for you to say that.
I mean, the potential.
I'll only charge you 5% commission.
5% is nothing.
Well, event boxes. That's nice.
The potential is really huge, isn't it? Because you could have genre boxes. You could, once you get more publishers on board, once you get that 1,000 publishers, you could have a monthly sci-fi box, so that people, because I find when I was selling comics that people like certain genres. They're willing to try different things, but they always have a genre that they love, whether it's science fiction, horror, zombies. I mean, you could have genre boxes or sub-genre boxes, and straight away people know that they're getting what they want. But at the same time, it's fulfilling that need for something new, isn't it?
Yeah, my biggest concern when doing this product was the pricing, because. On one hand, we don't want to shortchange the creators that are in the boxes, and 2, we have to make it attractive enough for people to subscribe to it, right?
Yeah.
So, that $16.99 includes, just because we're quite an open company, is it's £2 a book. That's what we pay for it. So instead of $3.50, you're paying £2 a book. Then you've got the cost of the box, Then you got a cost of postage, which is like £2 something these days, £3 something.
Yeah,
so
more than that, probably, yeah.
By the time we're left with maybe £1 or £2, depending on the month.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like it's the same principle as the Buy Small Press website. It's not for me to make tons of money. It's focused on creators getting their work out there. So if you're a creator and you're listening to this and you've got like a book, an issue 1 that's just been sitting in your cupboard in boxes, you want to get it out there for more people.
Right,
send me
I'll
a
just
message
get that box.
Well, because that's the point, right? All of us as creators have got boxes of our comics sitting there.
Of course we have.
And the whole time that you're sitting there going, oh, can't really give them, like, don't want to give them away, but I need to get them out to people. £2, we'll give you £2. Guaranteed £2. And I know that that's not huge margins for a lot of the time.
Saying that, Aaron, I think a lot of publishers will probably say, do you know what? You're getting it out there.
Yeah.
I'll let you have it for less than £2. I mean, I know myself, we spoke offline and I was quite happy to send you a box of comics, because they're getting their brand out there, aren't they?
Yeah.
And yes, they need to cover their costs. And yes, they probably want to make a little bit of money. But, most small presses, aren't in it for the money. And if they are, they're not, they know that they're not. There's no illusions they're not going to make stacks of money. They basically just don't want to lose money. And if they can have a little bit on top, So, I think £2 actually to pay a publisher for what you're offering there, I think that's really generous.
That's more. Yeah. Well, just for context, that's more than if you sell through Diamond at a $3.50.
Yeah.
So
of course
you're already making money.
Yeah. Oh, it's still a fantastic deal compared to Diamond, without a doubt.
Everything's a better deal than
everything is. Everything
I like that in this box they're all number 1s as well. I'm assuming in between the event boxes. See, we're calling it that already. In between the event boxes, that you're just going to try and include as many number 1s as possible, because that seems like a no-brainer. Does it mean then, freaks out? And I'm thinking ahead now. Let's say April 2022. You might produce all of these as those that have got second issues. Well, I might get another box in a year's time, maybe even 6 months, where I've got Spring Heel Jack number 2, Wine and Zine Anthology number 2. Is that in your thinking, maybe? I know it's the Sparks number 4 here. That destroys my whole theory.
Well, so the Spark is because you can read them without them being in order.
Right.
The theory was that I always wanted them to be first issues so that you were never left behind.
Yeah.
If it ever gets down to the road, fingers crossed, it goes down a year's time and we start to have more data on the people who have purchased boxes. We'll know what boxes they've had. So eventually we can start saying to people in a year's time, maybe, would you prefer a more curated box for yourself or the random one of first issues? Because if you want the curated one, we can start sending you more stuff that includes issue 2s and 3s. But my hope and theory is that if we keep giving people number 1s, they won't need 2 and 3, because hopefully they would have gone and bought them.
Yeah.
So, and because the 2 sites are link, I can know that information. But that's my hope, is that by people giving me their issue 1s, people will read them and hopefully buy the next ones. Like Mahoney's 1 there is number 1, but number 3 is already out. So hopefully people that have read that one are now going to go and buy 2 and 3.
Yeah, so. And I assume you have really good links from this website to the other one, so that if people want to do that, they can easily do it. They could
not just yet, but I will be doing that.
That'd be good.
Coming.
That'd be good.
Yeah, it's coming.
Because I mean, that's the other thing,
I'm
isn't
one
it?
Man, Shane.
Hey, man, I totally sympathise. I really do. I probably sympathise more than almost anybody else on the planet, apart from maybe Chris Staros or someone like that who. Who I've spoke to recently actually about his days when he was doing Top Shelf, and some of the work rate of some of these guys, is absolutely, and I know that your work, the amount of work that you will need to do to make this work, I know what's ahead of you, and I totally support everything you're doing here, mate. It's a really good thing. So you could have, couldn't you? I assume that fans, readers. I don't like the term fans as much as readers, can subscribe to titles through you as well. Would that be?
They can't subscribe to titles yet. That is something that people, a couple of creators have asked for, that we'd like to do at some point. We are just trying to work out the subscription stuff because, and I'll tell you why. The code is basically there, but currently we have issues with PayPal. So PayPal's the blocker on that front, because for some reason to allow subscriptions through PayPal is a ball ache, and they have to go through all these stuff. So in order to get Buy Small Press monthly up, I have to use a third-party software just to use the subscriptions at the moment because of that problem. I have to circumvent it. But in order to do that on Buy Small Press, I wouldn't be able to use that same software and circumvent it. So I've got to write my own and then deal with PayPal. So once that's available, that would be the idea, because we allow you to do physical and digital. So it'd be nice to be able to offer you to subscribe to either. So you could get this comic each month or the digital each month. 100% want to do that.
Brilliant. And you just touched on there, you also offer a digital service as well, so people can buy digital versions as well as physical versions. Is there a digital mystery box as well?
There isn't, but that's a good idea.
Full of them, mate.
I'll add another one to my list. Hold on.
Excellent.
Digital.
Because of course you can offer that even cheaper, can't you?
Well, you know what, Shane? The next good idea we have, we'll share it if he shares his 4th stage as a success.
I've already shared it, but I'm not telling you what it is.
I had a feeling we might have touched on it. This is what happens when you get a bunch of entrepreneurs in one chat. We just start
basically, step 5 is take over the world. In the brain.
That should be everyone's step 5.
But it's never going to happen because it never happened to them. So
there's a first time for everything, mate. First time for everything.
While you're scrolling down, it's just one thing I want to point out there. Is you can see that Jenny's got some original artwork up there, £250. But one thing I've put on the menu as well is an original comic artwork section, because I really want to highlight that as well. I think it's really great.
That's a great idea.
We've had some really good sales through this already of people putting up their original artwork. So get on there and do that because it's really great. And I love seeing everyone's original artwork and wishing I could buy loads of it.
I don't think I've seen a small press site before now that actually has a particular area for original artwork. That's a really good USP, as they say.
I like that.
And like you said, you've had a good sort of. So any new creators, if they've got any art still lying around, they can use this service again. And again, it's the same thing: 5% commission.
5%. That is 5% flat and everything.
Wow, mate, that is so good. That because it's good that we're doing this, because a lot of people might see this and think, "Oh, it's too good to be true." To be honest, it's that good, Well,
there's a lot to look at, isn't there? As you browse comics, browse category. It couldn't be any simpler. I sound like I'm on QVC.
Hey, if you're selling it for me, I'm happy.
It's great. It really is. So
as well as NFTs, original artwork. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all you need, mate. That's all you need.
There's only one of them.
I mean, what were you? I mean, just going off this for a second, as a conversation from one person to another. What are your thoughts on NFTs, Aaron? Or have you not looked at them?
I've had a look at them, and I think it's attempting to solve a genuine problem.
Yeah.
But I don't think the technology is there for it at the moment. So the problem I think it should try and solve is ownership of digital content, right?
Yes.
If you're the first person to upload a video, first person to upload an image, all that kind of stuff, it should just be baked in. It shouldn't be an NFT thing. It should just be a baked in thing. That ownership, the selling and all that of it, I just think is a load of rubbish, to be totally honest. If you're going to sell the rights like you usually do as a content creator. Here's my video. If you want to show it in your YouTube, pay me £30 or whatever. Do it that way. Yeah. You're going to make more money in the long run because NFT just crashed. So you're gonna make you're gonna make longer money in the long term. And also, there's a massive, from a technical guy, a massive cost for using NFT that just is not sustainable for the environment at all.
Exactly. That's my main concern about it. Is the power that is required. It runs through Ethereum, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I believe. So that's going to take a lot of computing power. It's also going to have massive environmental impact. I know that Ethereum are looking at ways to counter that.
Yeah, they say that, but I'll believe it when I see it. This is nonsense. I was reading, there's some crypto art place going, oh yeah, we don't use that technology. Well, what are the technologies available? I'm sorry, but prove it. Yeah, you can tell it's really got my goat up over the last couple of weeks, and it's really annoyed me. Now, here's one of the answers. Jorge Jimenez, who's an amazing artist, but he does all his art on Batman and before that Justice League, all of it digitally. However, if you want to buy that original piece of artwork, it will be printed off. It will be the one and only copy. You can buy it for whatever his artwork's going for online. There's not going to be another copy. There's your NFTs without it destroying.
And you can actually sign it by hand.
Yeah, you can sign it. Yeah, you can make it original, can't you?
Everyone thinks they're going to be the next Beeple who's been plugging away at this for years and years and years. And even he seems to be a bit of an arsehole if he doesn't take in the environmental consequences, I'm afraid. And with all these comic companies jumping on the bandwagon, no. Our site, comiccon.com, we've decided not to promote any way or any form, any NFT related PR stuff that comes our way.
That's quite a stance. That's quite a stance.
Said, well, we've agreed amongst us. But Lee said soon it's mended, I think. And it's like the naughty kid in the classroom. Ignore them and they'll go away. And like you said, Aaron, there's been a crash. There will still be people making money out of it. But I suspect in 10 years' time, we'll find out it's the mafia.
It's the same with all these digital currencies. You have to. It's all about riding the waves, and you've got to be clever enough to know when the waves are coming up or down.
Yeah.
And if you're the general public, don't bother, because unless you're going to be willing to put some money in and wait 20 years or 10 years, you're not going to have the guts to be doing it. Right? And in the long run, I don't know where the environment impact is going to have. It is very high because it's high computational that needs computers running ridiculously all day long. Many of them, farms of them, to get any cryptocurrency. But the only good thing about cryptocurrency is one, it has a finite life in terms of you can only mine so much. So eventually they're all going to be run out of mining, which means the cost of having digital currency will drop because of the fact that they're already mined, and then all you've got then is the cost of the transactions, which would be essentially the same as any other transactional cost online. So it wouldn't be impactable. It's the initial bit.
So, once it settles on a value, basically it'll be a bit more stable. At the moment it's quite unstable, isn't it? Put it simply there.
So talking about like your environmental impact for that second, something I've done since the beginning of selling comics is I team up with, I think it's One Tree Planted, and I try and make sure that at the end of every year, a portion of whatever we sell will go back into planting trees back in the world, because I just feel like we are making products that require trees, they require paper and everything. So anything we can do to impact that better.
I know Shane does his bit of the environment by not having a shower once a week or twice a week. I know every Sunday is his bath night, and that's about it. So well done, Shane. And for me, I just don't change my underpants.
Yeah, each to their own.
Oh, what smelly devils, eh? But I mean, I've always tried to go with recycled paper options on paper. That. I mean, but obviously
it hurts my bum though when I wipe my arse on it.
Do you remember?
Did I tell you that
when you had like the tracing paper type?
Yes.
What? Oh,
yes.
God,
that ages us all. Yeah.
Kids don't know what they're missing.
Do they still make that? Do they still make that stuff?
I'm sure they do.
And just send it to schools and hospitals. I think that's it. It's sent off in different lorries, you know.
Oh my God, yeah, they do. It's called IZAL medicated toilet tissue. There you go.
Oh, so they still make it. When my dad was in the RAF, every Boxing Day, we'd go over there and the kids would go in one room and the sort of parents go and get drunk in the other room. But I remember that was the only place you had that god-awful, like say, tracing paper, toilet paper. I think it put me off going to the toilet publicly for life.
Yeah. When I was at school, I'd hold it all down.
There we go. Sheffield Net.
Oh.
Whoa, that's an old one, that is. Can you see that on screen, Shane?
Have you shared something? I can't see it at the moment, mate.
Oh,
I just shared something in the private chat to share.
Because.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that being very painful as a child.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start a movement and someone has to make a comic on that paper. I want to see it.
I'm going to have to put it up now because
it wouldn't take the ink, would it? It wouldn't take the ink.
I don't know.
What's this? Perhaps Bendis should do future products on recycled paper for Ollie's use.
Hey, Chris, I know you're not a fan of Mr. Bendis. You never know, he might be watching this show this week.
One of these days, that's going to happen, you know. A creator's going to be watching something and Chris is going to come on and take the piss out of them. And that's it. We're going to get cancelled.
It's just going to be like, why do I keep getting Google alerts for my name on this podcast?
What are you sharing there, Ollie? Let's have a look.
Toilet paper.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Wow.
That doesn't look like a blast from the past.
Medicated. So obviously it had some medicinal uses, but I don't know what.
The medicated use was just like weaning out the weak, weren't it?
Yeah.
Like, you could take it. The weak people didn't want to go to the toilet, so they just perished.
I feel triggered. As soon as I saw that was it, man. I was triggered. Childhood trauma, all those operations in hospitals. Forget all the other effects of having an operation as a little kid. That toilet paper was worse. It was worse than waking up with the cramps after being out for hours, you know. So we'll come back to you now, Aaron.
Sorry, we will. We can't keep on talking about toilet paper for the rest of the show. No matter how great.
I'm glad I brought it down to toilet humour.
There we go. Yeah,
we always get down to that level, don't we? Thanks, Chris. Thanks for that. So the other big project that you're involved with is Little Heroes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is a wonderful charity. Which I could have done a segue then, because we were talking about hospitals, and then so I could have done a segue then. I totally missed the opportunity. But can you tell our listeners and our watchers what viewers?
It's going horribly wrong already.
My brain's not working properly today. I've had a funny day actually. I'll come back to you in a minute. Yeah, I had a little bit of a diabetic thing that happened earlier today, and it's really knocked me for six, to be honest.
Really?
So, my brain's still, starting to come back to normal, as it were.
It's lucky you've got a co-host then, isn't it, you doofus?
It is. I'm glad you're here. So would you like to tell our viewers, Aaron, about Little Heroes and about what the work that you do there?
And I've got the screen ready to share for you, and you're ready, Shane?
Okay.
Yeah, so Little Heroes Comics is a charity that I started, when did I start? 2017, 2017, I think.
Yeah, a while ago now. I think it was 2016, actually, mate.
Might have been. Well, yeah. Basically, what we do is we create comic making kit packages, and we send them to children in hospitals across the country. We've been doing it. Well, as I said, 2016, 2017. We've managed to send out over 1,000 kits. But we're doing, as you can see here, we're doing a massive fundraise at the moment. Yeah. That's just for 1,500 just to get the boxes printed, but we need 15,000 in total to send out another 1,000. So if you think about that, 15,000 send 1,000 kits out. But essentially, what it is you get everything in a box. So you get crayons, pencils, sharpeners, erasers. You get a black ink marker, you get how to draw guides, you get a blank comic, like pre-paneled comic book, some how to draw guides, and you get a copy of How to Make Comics with Springworth as well. Oh, there you go. You can see it all.
There we go. Yeah.
But all of that goes into one little package that they get when they're in hospital.
And is it kids that are in hospital for a certain amount of time, or is it for any kids in hospital?
It's any kids in hospital. Whenever hospitals reach out to us or we reach out to hospitals, it could be that they're staying in overnight. It could be like part of a session that they do when they come in. Like sometimes the kids come in like once a month, 2 times a month, and they do that as part of a therapy session.
Oh, right.
But a lot of them are going to kids that are just there overnight, with a long-term illness usually.
It's a wonderful thing. It really is. I mean, I remember being in hospital as a kid, going back to that little memory. And, joking aside about toilet paper, it is.
I wasn't joking.
It is incredibly boring as a kid. Well, it's incredibly boring as an adult. But as a kid, it's awful being in hospital, isn't it? And I would have absolutely... I got to watch my words here, but I'd have been so grateful for a kit like this. I remember I was saved by comics. Actually, my cousin brought me a big stack of 1970s Spider-Man weeklies when I was in hospital for a long time, and I tore through them. So comics are a wonderful thing, and they're great. It's a great activity. I just love the idea that you've got the blank pages and kids can create their own comics. You've got instructions. You've got all the tools required. I mean, it really is a wonderful thing for kids. I'm just going to do a little catch up on comments because we've got a couple more. Okay, we've got one from Pete Davis.
Great joke. Now we know what Izzle paper is.
And we've got one from Chris. Us baldies look like watchers. Look after yourself, shit.
That's your cosplay at your next convention.
Yeah, the watcher,
It wouldn't be a hard one, would it?
And a nice little comment from Chris there as well. Great charity, more power to you, Aaron.
Thank you, Chris.
Now, Aaron, whilst we're on the subject of the charity, have you ever thought, obviously there's a lot in each pack. Have you ever tried to reach out to any stationers or people who produce pens and so on and so forth? Because I know a lot of these companies have often got a charitable arm. So, like for like funding kind of thing.
I've done so much of it. It's unreal.
Really? That sounds like bitter experience coming through there. Yeah. What a great shame.
Yeah, a lot of these big companies just don't have the space for it, essentially. They already have other campaigns that are already part of that they just can't support you along it with. The best thing some of them can do is just offer you really good rates on the stuff you buy.
Yeah.
But we've looked at various things. So at the moment, the way we make the kits is I buy all the parts in. So I buy, all of those bits, build them up and then ship them out. One of the other things we've looked at is getting the kit made itself, which was the initial plan. Still might be the plan depending on how quick we could get funding. Because if we're slow in getting funding, then I'll just keep making them myself. But if say we could get 15, 20 grand, we've already got pricing from factories to build it all itself. And then, so for example, at the moment, the cost of a kit is about 10 quid. Right. But if we manage to raise 20k, for example, we could get them made. We could get 5,000 made, and they'd be like 2-3 quid each.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have to buy them from all that. We wouldn't have to collate them. They would just come as packed, all branded and everything. So it's a double-edged sword, because in one sense, I'd love it to be fully branded and created, but it costs so much money up front.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one we can do slowly. We can raise enough money to send 100 out and then another 100 and so on and so on. So it all depends how quick and how nice people want to donate money.
Yeah, if anyone is watching this, whether it's live now or whether it's later on YouTube or anything like that, this is a great cause, guys. And please support it. Please go. What's the best way, the easiest way for someone to support you if they want to make a donation? The
best way is obviously to go to the website. On the homepage is the donate button. just go ahead and click that button. So it's the most cost-effective way to donate because it's a direct PayPal.
There we go.
Direct PayPal button on the homepage. Whereas I think that I haven't updated that page to have the PayPal, but that page has the Just Giving. Amazon Smile is a good one. If you have Amazon, you can go to smile.amazon.co.uk and you can select us as your charity. And then every time you buy something that's marked on their Amazon Smiles system, we get a percentage of your purchase.
So you don't actually pay extra on the purchase.
No pay extra, nothing. It's
that's a no-brainer.
That's really good. That's really good. So if you've got a Prime account and you use Amazon a lot, you know, it's a great way of, you know, getting Amazon to give a little bit to the charity that you support. That's I like the idea of that. That's really
so there you can see, look, you get 0.5% of a lot of purchases, which when you think about it, all adds up.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people who spend thousands a year on Amazon.
Yeah,
they do all their shopping on Amazon. I'll be honest, I try to avoid it because I do like to support, you know, independent retailers as much as I possibly can. You know, but for something like this, you know, it's so worthwhile. I mean, I just sympathise with those kids who are stuck in hospital. You know, that's why I wanted to support the charity the other year when we supported you through ICE.
Yeah,
it's because it spoke to me directly. You know, I remember what it's like being a kid in hospital, and to have anything like this, it's a real.
They still haven't found that cure for ugliness, have they, Shane?
No, they tried.
Many people trying.
I was in there for years, and they couldn't do anything about it, unfortunately, mate. You cheeky twat.
It's one of those nights, mate. Now that you showed me, now that I can smell weakness.
Smell weakness. Well, at least we can't smell your pants, That's
God.
So one more thing, Aaron, before we go. You do also publish. We've mentioned it a little bit. And this is the magazine that you. I know. Where do you find the time to do all of these things? How do you organise your day? What's a typical day in the life of Adam Rackley?
Typical day,
or isn't there one?
Well, I try and get up early, between 6:30 and 7. Feed the dog.
Wow,
because we've got a new dog, so you know that's a thing.
Yeah.
And then I just do probably an hour's of work before I start my day job, and then I do my day job till like 5, and then I spend the next 3-4 hours pretending to watch TV with the missus while on the laptop doing other stuff.
Sounds very, very familiar.
But obviously, sometimes I don't have enough time, and I'm always trying to find people to work with, so to make my life easier.
Yeah, I mean that's the
key. You've obviously found a passionate team around you, though, haven't you? You know, because it sometimes I can imagine it takes a lot of willpower to find those extra hours in the day. Like you say, we all do it. We all do it for the love of comics. It seems to me that you're further down that road than maybe other people with, you know, the charity, the small press page, the event boxes as well as the regular boxes. You've managed to build up quite a momentum already. So it must be good looking back and thinking, okay, all of those hours was worth it, I think, you know, doing the right thing for the right reasons.
Yeah, for me, it's about seeing people being able to just do what they love passionately, right? So if like someone puts £100 piece of original artwork on the site and it gets sold, I'm excited, and it's not because I got 5%. It's because that person, because as I know, a lot of these creators, that's probably half their, like a part of their rent for that month. You know, I want them to be doing this. I want them to carry on being able to do what they do, and that's why I kind of, when I had to stop publishing the children's books because of COVID and we had no sales and it all killed everything off.
Yeah,
I knew I have one very good skill and one very good bit of experience. And the one experience I had was the experience of publishing and selling comics. So I know what the pain points are. And then I have the experience of making software. So I just thought, what? And then I got a friend of mine who said, "Oh, how easy would it be for you to do this?" Which was, how easy would it be for you to make people to be able to sign up for stores? And I was like, yeah, month later, done. There we go. Let's go live. So for me, it's excitement in seeing things you create people use, right? So for you, for the creators, it's people reading their comic and enjoying their comic. For me, it's people using the software. It's just, I don't, you don't even have to sell anything. Just come on and put a store up. I'm happy that you did that. So, yeah.
I totally get it, man. I'm so glad I got you on, because you are a man after my own heart. All those motivations that you talk about. You remind me of my younger self.
Well, I get older.
I really hope you don't end up like me. But it's wonderful to hear you say that, and I can tell that it's so genuine and that you mean it. And it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, mate. It really is.
I appreciate it, honestly.
Thank you so much for coming on. All I'll say is, have yourself a great evening. And to anyone out there watching, I will say again, please do support Little Heroes. It is a great charity. Is there anything else that you wanted to plug before we go, Aaron?
Before we go, if you go to buysmallpressmonthly.club, and when you check out, put in the coupon code ICE. See, linked it.
Oh, I forgot about that.
You'll get 10% off your first box.
We had a promotion, didn't we? So I'm so into what you.
I'll have my commission fee back. Thank you very much.
So let's just reiterate that, so everybody gets it. So it's www.buysmallpress. Sorry, you do it, Aaron. You know
in
it.
fact, and then I'll get the share screen.
Buysmallpressmonthly.club, and then .club. Yeah, I thought it sounded cooler. I don't know why. And then if you put in ICE, it should work.
Just like that.
Yeah, if you click redeem, I want to see if it actually works.
Yeah.
Well, I've not put any.
No, you don't have to put anything.
Yay!
There you go. So you'll get 10% off.
10% off with an ICE code,
which is basically my profit on that box. So go and get a free box from me.
Great. Ice baby.
Well, and remember that essentially you're getting 5 books at £2 each.
Yeah.
So discover 5 new companies. Yeah,
it's an absolute bargain. Anyone watching, make sure you do it. Discover some new stuff. Thank you so much, Aaron, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Honest.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Have yourself a great evening, and we will see you hopefully
in person.
Yeah, that's the plan. That hopefully we'll see you at a show. And
we'll do a show-specific box. There you go.
Yeah.
There we go. Even more ideas. We better go before we start coming up with more ideas. So have yourself a great evening, mate.
Get lawyered up.
Yeah. He's always on the phone. Don't worry.